What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Port Adelaide versus Hawthorn. A great result against the Hawks at the Adelaide Oval for 9 in a row. Yes, that's right. Port Adelaide have gone on a winning streak. That is 9 in a row. A club first, history-making day. A sensational win in the end. Well, a tale of two halves, really. And I don't really want to make it such a negative thing, but I'll get into it a little bit more about what basically unravelled at the Adelaide Oval yesterday. Unfortunately, didn't get to watch it, but I have watched it back since, and that's why the review's a bit late, so I do apologise for that. But I look forward to seeing exactly what we can learn from this one and go into next week. So here we are. Let's review Port Adelaide versus Hawthorn. On my first quarter, 9 goals 3 to 2 goals 3, I think it was in the end, and that's just takes me back to those 2015, 2014 starts, the elimination final, the game against Hawthorn in 2015 where we kicked 8 goals to 1. Just, there's something about this club at the moment that's just giving us a little bit more than probably what we expected, even if we did come into this expecting something. There is something about us at the moment. Now, the way we played that first half of footy was the best first half of football I've probably watched back. It was just scintillating to watch. Just the movement, the pace, the transition, the rebound, the centre clearances, the disposal efficiency, the way we moved the ball. We worked hard for each other. The pressure inside 50 was electrifying. The way we just continually played chaos footy, but also knew when to stop, settle, and launch. It was just beautiful. For the first time in history, we scored over 100 points in a half of football. It was just something I can't explain. Watching back, when I came off the ground from my game personally and hearing that we only won by 55 points, I was thinking, all right, that's probably what I expected from us. But to know that we had the quickest start we've had in ages, we had the best first half we've ever played in terms of scoreboard, the best first half we've played this year, and in the end, it sort of became a little bit anticlimactical because we've only won by 55 points. It's quite interesting because I feel like with us, it's such a funny thing looking through everyone's opinions and the way fans reacted to the end result. It was really disappointing. That's not how a top team should perform in a second half. And look, I agree with that. And I sort of was angry at the fact that we only won by 55 points. Yesterday could have been monstrous. Like, we could have kicked 180 points. We could have put the foot to the floor the whole way through and kept Hawthorn to about 50, 60 points. Won that game by 130 points. And our percentage, I think at one stage, we went from 111 to 120 in a half of football. Now sits at 116. It's going to become crucial at some point, that percentage. But at the same time, we keep winning games of football. That percentage doesn't really matter. It does not matter at all. And to win 9 in a row is such a mentally positive aspect of our game because we find a way to win games in those certain games. We also know how to put the foot to the floor and keep teams at bay, and we've done it in occasions, and the West Coast game was one of them. The Hawks game was obviously another. It's fascinating how this team's performing at the moment, and I don't want to put too much on that second half because at the end of the day, it was a quarter and a half of football where we probably leaked, I think it was 8 goals, 9 goals inside 40 minutes. And yes, that's an issue if it happens against a big team. But against a team like Hawthorn, where we take the foot off the floor, we even subbed out Lysette, and that probably caused a little bit more of an issue there. I think in the end, subbing him off and keeping things a little bit, I would say going at 70% pace, sort of turned the game. And whilst, yes, 55 points is a big win, it could have been a lot bigger, but at the same time, we've won 9 in a row. I don't think we would have expected to be sitting here, round 12, we've won 9 in a row after losing the showdown. It gives you a lot of belief, and to see players with belief at the moment, every single player in the team has belief, and I'm talking specifically the ones that are the backbone of the team. Dan Houston's an underrated performer. He has had a very, very solid month. His use of the footy, his attack on the footy, his launch from 50 with his 2 goals yesterday, his ability to be smart, run back with the flight. He's got the full package at the moment, and he's found that groove he had early last year, and he's doing it so well across half back. Obviously, your Butters and Rosies are doing the well, and they're doing their job. They're playing that great footy. Dylan Williams down back has been sensational. I thought Lockie Jones yesterday was really, really impressive. He's playing that role really, really well. Jed McEntee continues to be that forward pressure player. He mightn't be having 10 possessions a game, but he's kicking that goal. He's putting that pressure on. He's tackling. He's having a lot of an impact. When considering we haven't really had that, I thought over the last month he's been superb in that aspect, and he's just having a wonderful season and found his spot, and he stays in the 22 in my opinion, Jed. So I hope he continues on that form and rewards everyone's positive attitude towards him. Same with Junior Rioli, finally got on the board with 4 goals yesterday. The two big key forwards in Jeremy Finlayson and Todd Marshall, 5 apiece, very different 5 goals. Todd Marshall hit up lead, a lot of out the back in terms of that quick movement. Finlayson got them all in the first half. At one stage, I think people were probably thinking he's on for about 12 or 13, and that the place would have gone off if Port Adelaide had a player for the first time ever kick 10 goals in a game. Wasn't the case in the end. Todd Marshall sort of picked up the slack a bit in the second half. I think he kicked 3 goals in the second half, so to add to make that to his 5. So all in all, those performers out there that are sticking to their their work ethic, and they're just sticking to the task, as Ken would say, that's so impressive. It's just something at the moment. And Hawthorn, they looked awful. They looked dreadful in that first half. They have a lot of heart, and I think what Sam Mitchell's implemented into them is don't let things get out of hand and continue on. There was a game against Sydney earlier in the year where they looked like they were going to get pumped by 130, but in the end, sort of brought that back, didn't let it get to over 100 points. Same with this game. They found their groove a little bit, and Bruce kicked 5 goals, and Impey had a good game. And I just wanted to touch on that because I felt like Hawthorn deserved a little bit of credit for the fact that whilst Port Adelaide took the foot off the gas, they took full advantage of that. And it just shows that if a team in the AFL takes their foot off the pedal just by 5 or 10%, the opposition will make you pay for it. And that's what's got to be recognised right across the board. And I hope Port Adelaide learn a lesson in that aspect, because come those gritty games that we get back into, and I have no doubt the game against the Dogs next week at Marvel is going to be one of those games, fast-flowing, aggressive, going to become contested, similar to the one we had a couple of years ago when we played on that Friday night to get us into the top 2. It's just that kind of performance that I think we'll get next week. And that's what this week's big smashing probably tees us up for. Obviously, I'll do the preview next week, and it'll be a massive game to preview. I just do want to touch on the fact that there's 34,000 people attending a Saturday afternoon game at 1:15. Full credit to Port fans. That is one of I think it was our 3rd biggest crowd this year, if I'm correct. Maybe it'd be one of the lower ones, actually. But to see that against a team that's playing so poorly, like Hawthorn, obviously they've come off a 2-game winning streak. They do turn up well in numbers, and I do apologise. They're not playing poorly, but they're at the lower end of the ladder. And to put a performance in like that in front of 34,000 people, Port fans should be ecstatic. And I'm very proud of the fact that we're turning up at the moment at a shitty time slot. You got people turning up left, right, and centre. We're right on board now. 9 wins in a row. This is where things tick along. This is where you're like, all right, we've won 9 in a row. We've got that record. Make it 10, make it 11, go into the bye. Oh boy, it's interesting time, isn't it? Port fans, let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the game and what you thought of the whole game. The first half, scintillating form. Second half, foot off the gas. Just would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come. This week's episode of The Glass Table to be out as well this week, so make sure you check that out. A big game to preview next week as well. The Dogs at Marvel's going to be absolutely massive. So look forward to speaking to you then, Port fans. My name's Anthony, and as always, can't the pair.